Hey, y'all. Oh, give me a moment. Woo. It is hot. Welcome to the office hours. I'm going to tempt fate and say this is a short one. Now, I'm also going to give you the normal speech once we come in, because this is very important to understand, generally speaking. All right. Welcome to the office hours, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Well, generally speaking, yeah. Hopefully everything is connected. On my side it is. Everything's live. It is sweet. Whew. So, I'm going to give you the general advice. 4.2. Yeah, it is. 4.2 is released today. 4.2 released today, a little earlier today. Don't play it. You're just gonna smash your face against the wall for the next 4 days. I mean, you might enjoy it now because I just jumped on it earlier and it was okay. It wasn't awful, but like everyone is going to be jumping on it and smashing their face against the wall. And it's going to be bad. And then CIG will do a hot fix, and then a couple of stabilization fixes and stuff like that. So,
you can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers.
no PPUs.
But you can never.
Nah.
Never.
They don't have enough. They don't have enough activity on it. They wouldn't have enough activity for it for the weekend soaks. That's the problem.
Boast 1800 just resubscribed for 58 months.
Thanks for that 58 months of support there, Ghost. You're very important, but very impressive, you're very pedestrian. This your fault if you're drinking. I trust and cheers in chat. Y'all trust and cheers. Welcome back to the verse. I mean, I've been playing. I've been playing even when I'm not streaming. In fact, I've been playing too many video games. Because I haven't gotten the videos done that I wanted to get done. So I'll try to get them done today and tomorrow. I'm desperately trying to extend the Cutter video because I'm like almost done with it and it's not even 4 pages, which means it's not even 8 minutes. The problem about reviewing reviewing even like in-depth detailing review of ships is that there's just not a lot to talk about without adding like personal anecdotes and stuff like that. No, I mean they should they're good, but I don't think 4.2 should lead into a weekend so. No, what I mean is like generally speaking, they don't. First off, they needed to release it because Alien Week is over. So they needed to release it before Alien Week was completely finished. And second of all, so it was like it's a marketing release. Crow One, Batman, Shelly, your space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Got a good one for you. How y'all doing?
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
never,
ever take away my space game.
Oh yeah, I am Shelly, obviously. You listen to the internet. I'm a paid plant.
Loken Plays just resubscribed for 67 months. I love you, B.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love you too, baby. For that 67 months of support there, Loken. You're very important, Pupper, very impressive, Mr. Very pedestrian. You rock, shots and cheers, chat, y'all, shots and cheers. Icon. I wish. I mean, I love it, but like... So, I've been bad about cardio during the school year because, like, I don't get up early enough to go walking and to do my workouts. So, but in the summer, I have literally, I don't do anything that's like intensive 9 times out of 10 in terms of like on a daily basis, like I do when I'm working. You know, being a teacher, you get up, you walk around, you pace, you do those sorts of things, and so in the summer I don't. So I actually, because I have more time, I do get up early and walk because I can, you know, even if I get up late, it's still like 8 a.m. And I can walk around there. It's still a little warm at 8 a.m., but it's like, you know, 78, 79 here. It's like 25, 26 degrees Celsius. So, you know, it's warm, but it's not like death hot. So I've been getting my cardio and like actually working out pretty much daily. 70 is 25.5. Okay. I've been getting good at judging because I know 30 is 100. It's like 100 or 35 is 100. So like 30 is like 90, 25 is like 80-ish. Yeah. I wake up at 5 a.m. every damn day. Do you not sleep, Jen? Because you watch me until like 2 o'clock in the morning. So do you just get like 2 hours of sleep on a daily basis? I know that 70 or 72 is 20 degrees Fahrenheit, Celsius. You get Paul a standing desk. I mean, it's a lot of money. That's like what I make in a month for the stream, which like 80 to 90% of it gets used by the stream, is like a cheap standing desk. No, I usually fall asleep at least half of the last. Well, this one's going to be a short one. I keep saying that. I curse myself whenever I say that. We might end up with some good conversations. Who knows? But like, there's just not a lot of news right now. I will say, I am looking forward to CIG, to how CIG is going to deal with the main problems that they're having currently with the summer. Because summers, generally speaking, are CIG's weakest points. It's not unique to CIG because there's plenty of games that have the same problem where I should have used this. That's so much better. Here, let me change the thumbnail real quick. I'll use this for now. This is what I found. That's really fucking nice. I love that. Give me Lost Planet vibes. Bamfosaur, yo, it's awesome to meet your brother citizen. Take a picture with me. No problem, Bamf. Thank you for showing up. It's crazy how many people showed up there. You leave for work at 6:45 in the morning here in Mississippi. It's already 85 plus degrees when I get into the car. Yeah, that sounds about right. I used to live in East Tennessee, and it was the same sort of thing. It's always the humidity too. The humidity just fucking kills you. So, generally speaking, the summer is always a bad time for video games. Yep, Cody, that's the problem. And it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll you can get it later when when we do 4.3 and we have the new mission. It's like, and then the tooth is worthless. You can't use it for anything. So this is their thumbnail for the this is the what they're using for 4.2. I'll link y'all the actual link. No, it'll be fine. Like, eventually you'll be able to do it. But you'll only be able to do it once CIG has basically removed all the value of doing it in the first place. I'm gonna like stand up on my high horse for that just for a moment, because like it is the most frustrating thing. I'm in Thailand. It's 7:15 a.m. 81 degrees feels like 89 degrees. Yeah, I know those sorts of things. It's I mean, right now it's 7 p.m. where I am, and it's like 95 Fahrenheit, which is like 30 something Celsius. $35. And that's like cool for this time of year in Texas. Like, it's not hot, but it's definitely not like record-breaking heat. Also, the freight elevator wasn't working, so even if they managed to kill people and get through the elevator, the Bluetooth couldn't go down. So they were trying to tractor it. So, oh, it's so bad. But yeah, getting on my high horse about my soapbox about this. It's just like CIG needs to invest money into instancing. If this is the direction that CAG is going for the rest of the year with events and these sandbox activities, they need to invest a significant amount of time and research now into instancing for these events. Because while obviously not everything should be instanced, there should be some risk. If it's a main draw, you need to make it available for limited people. Let me guess, 4.2 launched and the transports at ASD are iffy. The freight elevators aren't working and the inventory is taking forever to pull up? Probably. I mean, the freight elevators aren't working. And people are ganging up to kill the worm and then killing each other over trying to steal the teeth. Oh yeah, you told me about my PO box. No, I don't have a PO box anymore. Like I need to get one. The problem is that I never checked it because no one ever sent me anything, and it's just like expensive to do. Hey, Chops, doing good. What I need to do is I know there's a system where you can set up a PO box and then have all the mail from that PO box be forwarded to your address, to another address, so you can it'll actually be sent to you rather than being just going to the PO box. Oh, it's your pub box. Oh, you're saying like a instead of a soap box. I get it. There was a considerable but not lethal input lag in Area 18 earlier. Logged on, got my stuff to Bajini, where there is no ammo. Yeah. I think CIG devs have an idealistic idea of how things will play out when they do internal testing, but it seems wildly unrealistic with how people actually play the game. No, I think CIG knows and understands that people are going to PvP and they kind of want that to happen. But I do think that they don't really understand how people PvP in Star Citizen.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Gifted Forge, a membership. Forge Horizon celebrates 23 months of membership.
Damn.
Paul, if you open a
Ultra
PO
VIP.
box, I will send you an MG Victory Vorka and a half-built ball Vorka. Maybe even my knockoff V2 Assault Buster Vorka.
I know some of those words. Those are Mobile Suit Gundam, right? Thank you for that 23 months. You're very important, Bubba. Very impressed. Mr. Fading Pedestrian. This your fault. You're drinking out. Shots and cheers in chat. Y'all shots and cheers. I'll open a PO box. But yeah, like there's got to be a service where like they forward it to your home address. It's not giving you crazy people my fucking home address. Because like I know businesses you have PO boxes, and I know they don't just send an intern down to check the PO box. I'm sure those PO boxes get forwarded to like a professional address. New lore for CIG. There's only one elevator repairman in the verse, and he has a giant contract on Terra that keeps him busy. Yeah, the
Hey, a tip.
Escap, superchatted $19.99. Sig, we have Bomber Talon. Now give Rocket Shrike.
Thank you so much for that $20 there, Escape. You're a very important pupper, very impressive pisser. There kind of is, but only for stuff you buy off Amazon. It's called Throne. Yeah, I know Throne. I've heard of Throne. I think the USPS or others like UPS stores and stuff like that, you can open up PO boxes. I think they have options where you can forward mail on. I just have to like look it up. Am I ready for worm time? Depends on which worm. I'm going to try to do Stormbreaker, but I have a very bad feeling that Stormbreaker is going to end up just being a gank fest. To the kind of worm that Fry got from the gas station vending machine sandwich. All right. Speaking of which, let's actually look at the release video, because the release video is interesting because I believe what there's actually audio to it, and I think that audio is legitimately from mission files.
Them biddies.
Are you thinking that Stormbreaker is going to end up being Stormbroken?
Of course. Of course. Though I do think, again, typically CIG is pretty good at fixing things. So they go through and fix them. The consistent problem with CIG is that whenever something breaks, they have to go back and fix it. And so the longer something is out, the more they have to go back and fix it, and less likely people are going to do things. So that's why I said, that's why I started this video off by saying, don't play 4.2. Give it a weekend. Try to play it next week or next weekend. Is anyone else disappointed with this Stormbreaker video? It means nothing to a new player. It doesn't mean anything to an experienced player either. What is it supposed to mean? I mean, for me, it tells a story. You don't have to know the story of what it is, but it definitely tells you that there is a story going on. Just like any kind of trailer for a game, you don't necessarily know the story of what's being told. You're kind of given glimpses of it. Yeah, let's watch it real quick. Make sure it's at the right settings. No, not 720.
Day 96. This is it. The breakthrough I knew would happen. The specimen holds answers far beyond their comprehension. Even the infants serve my purpose. They need an end to the regen crisis, and I will deliver it, despite my colleagues' protests. That is why I am essential. Where they see life, my mind sees the design. The data locked in flesh that must be harvested. Science will not cower to moralistic fear. Progress requires clarity, not sentiment. To discover is to survive. To evolve is to rule. Once again, they put their future in the hands of science, yet still refuse to trust its judgment, its results. It's my responsibility to push forward. I will save us all.
Yes. Yes. Space graboids, yeah. Oh, it's Science Gone Amok. It's Umbrella Corp. It's aliens. It's all of the fun tropes. I love it. This sort of asshole always is inferior to the average composite of a bunch of research groups just plugging away. Dude might be brilliant, but the cost that they exact on everyone around them is always more than they contribute. Yeah, which is fine. And the Wayland Yutani Youth Employee of the Month goes to. Yeah. Did y'all notice? Because I noticed this. The voice actor sounds very similar to what's his name? The main scientist from Half-Life. The one who's like the generic scientist voices in Half-Life 1 and is like the one who has Kleiner. Yeah, Dr. Kleiner. He sounds a lot like Dr. Kleiner. It's like an evil Dr. Kleiner. Yeah. And the thing is that you can find notes in audio notes in game at these facilities, and they're probably his notes. That's probably what we just heard. You just got hit by a falling Idris over Area 18? Damn. Generic German sounding scientist? No, this is like the generic, like, we're with the science team. It's very like nerdy. You just launched with your Hercules? Was it full of stuff? Oh, god damn. Damn, that sucks. Do you think CIG would ever put together an animated anthology like Halo did after their lore, after they get their lore down? Maybe. 200 SC worth of RMC? Fuck, that's like a millions of credits. Fuck. I'm sorry, Jakaro. That's just kind of funny, honestly. That's that you got. But if you remember the film, Dr. S didn't do any mad science. The Soviets did, and he confirmed it for the Americans. He was doing mad science because he was the one who was all about the mine shaft gap and shit like that. So the scientist's name is Dr. Logan Jorrit. there's going to be some government authority cracking down on the science, telling them their research is too dangerous, and they're like, "I'll show them," and then uses it on themselves. God, that would be a twist. Jorrit turned himself into the Apex worm. Oh yeah, ASD is definitely Weyland-Yutani. Like, even CIG developers internally call them Star Citizen's version of Weyland-Yutani. Okay, Paul, so question. Did you watch Justice League Unlimited? I've seen it before, but I don't remember watching all of it. You remember when the general took a super soldier serum and got into a knockdown drag-out fight with the C team? Vaguely familiar with it, yeah. Jorrit is the God Emperor? I mean, maybe. Oh, I mean, I lost a bunch of items. I lost my NN14 that I had. I want to see that happen. I want to see a science dude take an immortality serum that gives him a perfect regen score thingy forever, and then hulks out and we have to kill him. I mean, I can see that. I can see that as being a boss battle for around the same sort of dungeon as dude creates 7,000 copies of himself. So 4.2 has a big worm in rain. Yes. It has the Stormbreaker sandbox activity. It has rain. I think it has rain on multiple planets, but the one place you can guarantee it is Pyro 4. Or Pyro 5. I can't remember which one. Yeah, bomb racks and also flight blades. There might have been some flight model adjustments. I mean, the thing about these about these patches is that they're often a lot of different things that aren't gonna get highlighted because CIG doesn't highlight changes as much as they highlight new stuff. So they're gonna highlight the worm and Stormbreaker and all of the stuff that's added around it. Hovering is apparently different now in Atmo. Did they finally change? Because I know that they talked about changing that. But I also heard it's not that difficult. The turrets are still pledge store only. Of course, because those weren't the things that people were mad about. That's funny. Again, I speculate Dr. J escapes from this event without dying or being apprehended, and it may well be in a later event that we catch up with him, and he eventually takes his own medicine, and we get the final boss battle in new form. But again, this would require longer planning of a multi-event storyline. It also doesn't work if you have somebody like that because unless CIG wants to tell a linear story, then you can't. Only one person can kill Dr. J. Now they do have regen, and so there may be a way of having Dr. J come back consistently, but like, can't really do that. Thank you, Kinji. Then again, they also kind of did that with Hunt the Polaris. How is the summer going for me? Not as efficient as I hoped that it would be, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. But like Hunt the Polaris is just one mission that canonically only happens once. It's kind of sad that CIG's basically given up on telling a story in a sandbox universe, but it is what it is. You're not going to change that because Red Monster said in his recent video that surface mining was going to take a hit due to the uncontrolled hovering that's been added. I don't doubt it. They want to make things harder. They want to make it so that ships have to have VTOL if they want to hover properly. Is the giant worm in particular dynamic or basic actions or animations at the moment? What do you mean? You mean does it move around? The answer is no. It emerges and then shoots stuff at you and attacks you, I think, if you get too close. But it stays in one place. Apparently, Antietam armor has better rad resistance than Sterling. What do you mean they've given up? So, the original idea that CIG pitched in terms of storytelling was that they may have like a general story that would happen, but there wouldn't be this sort of like, you are the hero of Kavach, you know, you are the chosen one. Go do these specific stories and unlock these specific events. It's like you do missions for a mission giver, and the mission giver will give you a special mission around them that's like more unique, but that unique mission is still sort of generic. It's like, hey, yeah, I do this with all the people who I'm close with to see if you could get like better reputation and then unlock other missions with them. That was supposed to be like the progression. And like if you found an NPC with a unique name, like a unique title, and if you killed them, they'd be dead. Like only one person would kill the Dread Pirate Roberts. Basically, they've decided that that's too difficult and it doesn't help them tell the story they want to tell. So instead, they're doing this sort of hybrid situation where they do an event, but it's, you know, limited time. And if you participate in the event, you do. If you don't, you don't. But that event only canonically happens once. Xeno Threat only happened once. Siege of Orison only happened once. It didn't matter that you could play that over and over and over again over the course of a month. It only happened once in lore. And thus VTOL becomes the new LTI beam factor. Well, we'll always knew that was going to be the case in Atmosphere. Hey, Renamon. It's a hot, sticky night here in London, UK. Ooh, I'm doing okay. A little tired. We're gonna do a read through. Probably, I'll do it as a capsule, but I don't know if it'll actually happen. By the way, Pub Capsule, if you are in, if you are a subscriber on Twitch, it's a new animated emote. My first animated emote was made by Piss Poor Pete. I'll type it in there for you. Yeah, it's PUB, lowercase, and then capital C with capsule. Have you tried downloading the patch? Have you played it yet? What's your initial thoughts? I played it. I haven't played any. I've actually been in it, but I haven't played any gameplay yet. I did play it in PTU, and it's fine. In terms of any of the changes, I haven't really tested them in game, other than Stormbreaker. As always, if you want to know all of the changes, watch the Shadow patch notes, which were released by 5-Star. YT Gang is smaller. YT Gang, typically YouTube is a little bit larger these days than my Twitch stream, though it is a little bit bigger. Twitch is a little bit bigger this time. But I did download it. I did play it, but I haven't actually played it. I hopped on to give some of the lore officers because they were having me hold on to a couple of cards for the executive hangers, so I gave them some of those. Twitch took their daily pub capsule, but if your viewership is engorged over 4 hours, contact your local Twitch representative immediately. Like I said, it's not a very June as a month is always pretty low in my experience in terms of content. It could be a little bigger in the earlier in the month, but typically it's a little lower in terms of engagement. And it doesn't help that basically everybody's been playing Dune. Don't get me wrong, I love Dune. It's a good game, but I also know it's the kind of game that I'll play for, 30 hours, 40 hours, and then move on to something else.
You can take away my spaceship.
And never come back to it.
You can take away my space suit. You can even take away my space lasers.
No pew-pews.
But you can never,
ever
take away my space game.
Mojo Train just resubscribed for 17 months.
Mojo Train with the Twitch Prime sub for 17 months. You're very important, Papa. Very impressed, Mr. Fanny. Did I ask you this? It's your fault you weren't drinking night. Trust, cheers, and chat, y'all. Trust and cheers. Other than saying I'm almost 50 hours, I'm still playing it every so often, but I don't get the bug. I'm not getting the bug. I don't, don't get me wrong. I don't think the developers are doing anything bad, but I just know the game. I know how these games work. They're solidly made. They're good. They're fun. They're engaging. And they definitely try to hit you into a loop of like building and surviving and doing the missions and all that kind of stuff. And they're fun. They're engaging. But so far, I found them to be basic fetch quests, basic stuff, which I'm sure gets a little bit more complicated as you goes into the deep sand and stuff like that. But you don't have a fever. A fever for more cowbell? That's a Layered Dune reference. Do you know what the new event will consist of? Which event, Broheim? Are you talking about the event that was, we'll talk about in the roadmap roundup, the one for 421? Because yes, I do. I believe it's been mined. The information's been mined. I can give you the bare basics is that it's supply or die. But instead of 3 or 2 groups, it's 6 groups, 5 or 6 groups. So 5 or 6 different companies are all vying for your attention, and you have to work with those companies and give them supplies. The problem is each company wants the same supplies. And why do we care? I don't know. Each company gives you a unique skin, I think. I don't know the companies. Do we know what the rewards are for helping each company? Skins. It's the Stanton 4? Okay, so it's Hurston, Crusader, Microtech, and ArcCorp. Except you need a level 3 crime set to participate because Shiaji couldn't help themselves. No, there's no genociders. It's just supply or die, which is fine, but like major narrative event, it is not. It is community rewards or community goals from Elite. I always get the name wrong, but it's a major mission order from Helldivers. It's like something that other games will throw out there to get you engaged for a week or two. So Hurston's not involved? Listen, Iris, Hurston doesn't genocide anything. They care about their workers. They do their best to keep their workers alive and functioning, mostly just functioning, so that they can get their own stuff. They don't genocide anyone. They love everyone equally as part of the Hurston family. They just want to destroy their own planet. No genocide when you can't die. I thought you can talk about what there is from an Evo patch, but you can't show anything from an Evo patch. Are there rules about what you can and can't say? They basically don't want us to talk about any of the new stuff that's coming out, like varied in detail, but there's nothing against us talking about it. The goal is for whichever company that gets the most support to have an effect on the regen crisis. It's a modified supply or die. That's borderline sounds like propaganda, bud. What's borderline about it? It is propaganda. Report MD Mirror's Democracy Officer. See, that's the thing I've been playing. I've been playing Helldivers. Because a couple people in the Discord were like, hey, who's down for dropping some Helldivers? So I did some Helldivers with them. And then I did something I've never done before, which is just solo drop in Helldivers and then go to respond to SOS signals in Helldivers. And I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of fun, even with randoms. I haven't been playing at like Helldive levels, but I've been doing like mostly lower levels, like 4 or 6. For some reason, 5 is a stupidly high like difficulty spike, but 6 is easier than 5. And then also just solo low drops so I can farm super credits, so I can get the various battle passes. So. War Bond, yeah. And see, that's the thing. A lot of people are like, I've been playing this game or this game. It's like, yeah, that's the problem. Yep, they hit their summer momentum wall. That's why I don't think we don't know when I don't know if 4.2.1 will do much. Because, like, the problem with Supply or Die is that, A, it's always the same materials, and so those materials get farmed out really quickly, so there's just no incentive to do it. The CNG seems to have the same problem, which is they don't think how putting an event designed for 1 to 4 people together, how can you do that in a universe where 600 people could do that event at the same time? They basically said that EPTU isn't coming out until August. That's basically the end of summer. Hey, Captain Smith. CAG doesn't think their content is cookie cutter slop. And yeah, that's about right. Instancing. They need to focus on it. I mean, I said that earlier in the stream. They need to focus on that because if they really want to do 4-player like events, then they need to be instanced. And you know, like, you can do instancing with PvP. You just have it instanced to be like 10 people. I mean, it's in Pyro, so it's going to be hard mode no matter what. But that's the thing, is you want to make sure that it's accessible to actually play the game. Because, generally speaking, it's not fun to play the game when you design, when it's clearly that the mission and the stuff was designed with only a handful of people in mind, and then there are 4 times that number, and they're all fucking with each other. Stormbreaker is a highly story-driven / immersive mission for CIG. It doesn't work for the masses. No. I don't think, and here's the thing, Jaded, I don't think CIG would argue against instancing. They have instancing plans already for like the depths, you know, for the municipal works, one of the municipal works with the depths. The problem is that they don't have the resources to do that and dynamic meshing, and it may require dynamic meshing before they can even get that done. So instead, we're just going to get really, really bad playing sandbox activities where you have to have a fucking army to even enjoy it. And which trivializes the whole event. Or the whole activity. And most people will not enjoy it. It does surprise me that a lot of people I've seen on Reddit are against instance activities, because CIG fundamentally talked about this game as being an open PvP, always threat universe, and they see instances as a retraction from that mindset. People see that as so you're making it a PvE game, not a PvP game, or even a PvP threat game. And the problem isn't that mesh or instancing is the problem. Instancing itself is a solution to a problem that CIG has, which is they do not seem capable of creating sandbox missions or sandbox activities with the 600 people, the possibility of 600 people showing up. And if they're incapable of doing that, then they need to figure out how to make it so that the 4 to 10 people that they planned on having for this the mission, how to get those people to get only those people. We have instance hangars stacked on top of each other. Turn the shuttle into an elevator and turn the location into an instance. I don't think they can do that just as simple as it sounds, Sandgroper, because there's a difference between your hangar and a location on a map. And anything they do would require... They wouldn't want to do something that would just be a bespoke thing for one thing. They would have to be a generic solution, a general solution to the problem. They're like the naive guys who organized the first Woodstock music concert. Yeah, I can see that. And that's the other problem is like you're going to hear and see other people because of how that works. In this event, you could have the worm final boss be instance very easy. The shuttle is the thing that loads you into it, but you can also drop into it from space. I don't want to be the guy who's like, you know, it's simple. Sure. Do it then. If it's so simple. Because I'm sure CIG could do it. It might break the game in weird and unusual ways and might make the event really difficult to do. And then take them twice as long to get done. And when it's finished, it's because they have to be tested and all these other things. And then when it's actually released, it breaks and then they don't fix it again because it's a special, unique way that they get things done. Honestly, they just need to take a page out of WoW's handbook and have the instance portal rooms or something. I mean, that's what Area 18 Depths is. Yeah, no, it is. And they'll do that eventually. But the Area 18 Depths isn't out yet. Game is already broken. My beanbags didn't make it through. Literally unplayable. But that's the thing, is that, like, CIG needs to continue to produce the game and make money. But they're not going to release the game with bugs that are, like, unplayable. They don't want to make another 318, basically. And while the mission itself probably is going to break, the vast majority of people aren't going to do the mission because we all know it's going to break. And you'll try it once and you'll get fucking ganked and you'll be like, nope, I'm done, and you'll walk away. Have they figured out how to not wipe ship components, or am I going to have to rebuy everything again? It's a dice roll. Some of the stuff you'll have to rebuy, some of the stuff you won't. WoW used to try open world events, and now they basically stopped it. CIG doesn't have to design their open world events or open world activities like 4-person missions. But they do. This isn't a problem of technology necessarily. This is a problem of design. The other option would involve a timer lockout with the shuttle traveling into the location. Yeah, but you could still drop ICTs onto that location. Hey, Alex. In my opinion, they need another wipe already to fix the database LTP issues. We don't even know if that'll help, though, honestly, Captain Smith. I'm gonna be honest. I'll be honest. I'm not mad about this. I'm just frustrated. I want to do Stormbreaker with friends, but I don't want to fight other players because I'm really happy they're making stuff, getting it into the game. I'm just frustrated. I won't be doing it. That's my problem too. And what's my problem fundamentally is I don't trust CIG to maintain these activities beyond a year. Like, I don't think Hathor will be functioning properly in May of next year. Probably Stormbreaker as well. They'll probably have some sort of weird bug that it happens, that they get broken because of the new mission system or because of some other activities, other stuff that they've added to the game, like features and such. And in order to actually fix it, they'd have to go back and add those features in properly to make them work. And that's such a pain in the ass. They're just going to ignore it and move on to whatever new shiny is, because that's how they've always worked. They could do some complaint with released events by being only enjoyable with large groups if they also release solo or small group focused events in tandem. Not every even should be able to do small solo / small group players. Well, look at your point. How bad CZs are right now. They work maybe 10% of the time. I don't want this to be just a big shit fest on CIG. It's just the fundamental issues of Star Citizen are that right now CIG chose to make this the year that they sat down and they stabilize everything, but they still needed to do things in order to generate interest. They have two things working against them. One, it's June. June is going to be bad. July is going to be worst. August could be really bad or pretty good. It depends on how the release schedules work. But generally speaking, these 3 months are the worst months in Star Citizen. Because CIG, for whatever reason, tends to take things easier during these months. Typically because they want to focus more on things that are releasing in the third quarter and fourth quarter. Well, fourth quarter really. The last 3 months of the year. This is technically third quarter, I think. Well, technically it's like July, right? Yeah. July, August, September. And on top of that, if CIG developers are going to take a break, they're going to take a break during summer because they have kids off of school. And so it seems like development in general slows down during the summer. So you have less content, you have less fixes, you have less game in general, and more people are doing other things. The perspective I'll frame it in, when they want to iterate on features, they'll do so with new content. This is why they don't go back and apply new features to old content. That's not the point. I get it, but then there's no point in keeping these features, then doing these features like sandbox activities and saying it's going to be around forever, because it's not. So, you know, you might be able to enjoy it once and then it'll just disappear and you'll never be able to do it again. I'm gonna be surprised if they stop working right now. Stop working right a few months from now. They'll stop major release. I think 421 is going to be probably a disappointment for most people. I mean, we can look at the roundup here in a moment, but like I can tell you right now, it's space combat mission, which is nice. Global event, the Volt Laser Pulse, and the medium utility armor. Oh wait, no, the medium utility armor is not coming in 421. It's been moved to 4.3. So 421 is 3 things. One's an event, but 3 things. Probably a bunch of fixes and updates and other things like that. Maybe some armor somewhere, maybe not. And a ship. And 4.3 is not going to release until August or September. Like I would bet, I would have a sneaking suspicion we won't have a July patch. Or if we do have a 2.1 July patch, we won't have an August patch. Like we're in this summer, we're gonna have a skip. We're gonna have 4.2.1 in July, and then we'll have 4.3 in September. Any word on the 4.3 August September patch? He just literally just said, no, but that is the patch that they're going to be releasing the EPTU for all the new features. So like hip, engineering, probably I would guess Vulkan, the final iteration of Vulkan, and the new scanning stuff. What about the 4.3 patch? I think the 4.3 patch will be great, but is going to come in September, which is my point. There's a reason why I started Hot Mech Summer last year. Because Star Citizen interest falls off a fucking cliff in the summer. And I will be doing lore content throughout this summer. But there's also a reason why I'm doing, like, there's going to be another video that'll probably be out this weekend for lore content, which is just going to be the miscellaneous ships of the Star Citizen, of the UE Navy. And, like, I'll be doing that video, and then I'll be doing, probably 5 or 6 more videos between now and the end of the summer. But only 3 of those videos will release, and the rest of them will release in the fall. Because, like, releasing it so that the algorithm doesn't think I've just disappeared. But then in the fall, when I, like, say September hits and I drop once a week, when I actually have time, because I'll have, like, those built up over time, then I'll have more interest and more people will be watching. I thought the engineering preview event was planned for June. Then they seem to have, as is tradition, sort of implied that it won't be ready until August. Thank you, Orion. I don't know if we'll have engineering, or not engineering, I don't know if we'll have crafting until 4.4. And I also say, like I always say, I would love for CIG to come out with 4.3 in August, and it's like banger patch, and then we have a 4.3.1 and in September, and a 4.4 in October. Like, that would be great. But I don't see it happening. Send the kids to military boarding schools. We haven't talked about that. We talked a little bit about it, but it's apparently a lot more rough than people were hoping for. I was looking at my own Discord, and they were talking about it, but when they were talking about it, it seemed like it was okay. Hang on, we're getting an engineering tech preview channel apart from the usual EPTU, PTU thing. So, tech preview is gone. Instead of tech preview, they have what they're calling EPTU. So EPTU is becoming what they're going to use as a tech preview. So, for instance, if CIG is smart, and the fact that I just said that knows, you know what I'm talking about, they would release it in July for a September release. So they'd have their 4.3 EPTU in July. It could be tested and refined, and whatever doesn't work for 4.3, they'll leave into EPTU, and then everything that does work, they'll branch it off into a 4.3 release branch, into a PTU branch, So then that will go through its testings and then release, while the stuff that's in 4.3's ePTU is still being tested and then gets rolled into 4.3.1's PTU. And then they test it again and make it work. And anything that doesn't work with that, they pull out, separate them again, and then continue to work. Nope, there's been no mentions of base buildings in recent months. The last time they talked about it was that they had basically everything we saw at CitizenCon was functional with developer UI, with coder UI. So all of it worked, and it was working in game and in engine, and everything was functioning fine. But they still need to do UI. They still need to hook up all of the other back end stuff to it. But it's done, kinda. In terms of will it make it by year's end, probably in a preview and an ePTU, but that's it. Holy crap, Paul, I've never had seasickness before, but drunk mining will be an issue now. That's what apparently Red was talking about. Do you think more frequent patches has helped or hurt this year? Maybe I just had bad luck with each patch. I just lost progress and loot. That's pretty much demoralizing, especially how long it takes to get that stuff playing mostly solo. I can tell you that based on funding, it's helped CIG. Based on morale, I think it's done better. Yeah. I think more people are playing the game more regularly than they were before. And yeah, there are some issues and like you get your stuff lost and stuff like that, but it's not like everything gets lost. So I think most people can chalk it up to whatever, I'll move on. I know that's not everybody. I know some people are just like, I personally can't handle this because I need to have it be stable. Otherwise, I won't play it because I just feel like I invested all this time and money into it and I just don't do. Okay, let's pull up the Chris Roberts thing because everyone needs to read this letter from the chairman again. Because it's clear that it's one of those things. It's like, all right. It's confusing. I get it. But I'll pull up the image so you can see. All right. No, this is the last letter from the chairman. Okay, so too often testing new features within the same pipeline as content has led to undefined or unintended ripple effects, creating instability, hindering performance, and impacting overall gameplay. In some cases, new features that are not fully mature have delayed release of content or caused blockers that impact our progress. This has prompted us to reevaluate our approach to feature and content rollout, focusing on steps that we can take to bring the game into a better state while maintaining steady delivery. It's important to note, this is the plan going forward, not just for this year, but forever. This is how Star Citizen is going to go forever. Features are still coming in, but they're only going to come in when they're stable enough to not disrupt the gameplay. To achieve this goal, we are making a fundamental change, decoupling feature development from content creation and general fixes. This means the new features will no longer hold up content delivery or risk destabilizing the live environment. This approach will leverage the tech preview, which was reserved for major pieces of technology, like replication layer, server meshing, will now extend to gameplay feature testing too. When a new feature is deemed too complex or risky enough to require focused testing, we'll introduce a separate experimental PTU, ePTU channel dedicated to that feature. Testing in this isolated channel will allow to refine and stabilize the feature without impacting the content and broader development work. Only once the feature is fully greenlit will it integrate into our standard ePTU, Evo PTU live pipeline. So we have Evocati, it goes into PTU. Anything that doesn't meet that PTU gets pulled out into an ePTU. That PTU goes to live. This remains its own thing until the next Evocati happens, and then it gets integrated back into that Evocati and then into that PTU. Anything that doesn't make it to the Evocati gets pulled out and then gets tested again in PTU and then goes into live. This ePTU, everything was been basically tested over 2 patches and goes into a PTU. Does that make sense? So EPTU is effectively the tech preview. So they'll do a tech preview, which will eventually be PTU, EPTU. And then that will then get pulled out. And then immediately forgot about in the year of content. Well, basically, and we've heard this from CIG's developers themselves, none of the stuff that they've been working on, which they have been working on in the background, they've talked about it, none of that has been stable enough to be put into the game. So they just haven't put it into an EPTU yet. Like, for instance, they talked about how Vulkan is done internally. They're using Vulkan and testing it on Squadron. But they're too afraid to add Vulkan into the game because it might cause major disruptions. And if Vulkan is causing major disruptions, then it will cause a delay in the release. Because if they add it, then it has to be tested. And to be tested, they have to pull QA out from other teams to test that specific thing in the live environment. Thus, that resources are being used for Vulkan and not being used for the rest of the game. So if it's going to drag resources away from the main content and gameplay, then it gets nixed. It gets removed from the even consideration. Nixed like Levski, yep. So they mentioned that they wanted to do a tech preview in June. That didn't happen, and they mentioned in the last ISC or SCL, they seem to reference that they don't think it's going to be ready until August. Well, July or August. So a separate but reviewable channel that then whenever is causing trouble can operate apart from the regular pipeline until it's solved, only greenlit when it appears again. Yes, but the amount of stuff that takes resources to test currently with the current game is still pretty high. So they haven't had the resources to even put them into a build until recently. Does that make sense? And then why wouldn't they just add it to its pile of features for an extended EPTU before a pause? Because it's not even ready for an extended PTU. In the regular EPTU, PTU chain, yeah. Yeah, there is no major features in 4.2.1 EPTU. The 4.2.1 EPTU is basically the new global event, the new space combat mission, which I don't even think is in there yet, and then the Volt pistol. That's it. Yeah, that's true. It could be added later. I don't think it will be, though. I think CIG is also gun shy because they tested it for extensively, but they released master modes and did a lot of work on it. And then people got so pissed off about it that CIG decided to entirely remove master modes. They didn't entirely remove master modes, but they've effectively removed master modes. They use the same tech for hotfix channels. What tech? The tech for preview? Because the hotfix channels are literally live. They're also a live branch. And it works on the same live servers. It's just some servers have hotfix and some don't. As a tech preview? Interesting. 4.21 is going to be our June or July patch. Then it's going to be July. They've released 4.2 this today, so that's the June patch. So the July patch will be 4.21. Then CIG is going to go big for August, pause for September, and push CitizenCon big patch. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think we're going to see July is 4.21, and then in July they'll do their tech preview, and then they'll basically take all of August off and on the tech preview, and push it to Evocati in August for release in September. So that they have, so yeah, it's going to be, so then we'll have a patch in September, October, November, and December. And the November patch is going to be probably a .1 patch, so 4.3.1. And then the December patch will be 4.4. Was tech preview on the live channels as well? I know it was using the same builds, like the modern builds, or it was actually using older builds, wasn't it? I mean, from the sounds of things, they're completely removing what flight modes or master modes was in the first place. And instead, it's going to be based off power rather than anything else. We're getting closer to 2026. I'm getting worried about Squadron 42. What are you worried about, Ram? They're not going to make any announcement about Squadron until at the earliest CitizenCon. And I'm telling y'all right now, Squadron 42 is going to be released at the end of December 2026. That gives them the maximum amount of time while still technically making 2026. Yeah, it's going to be yeeted out last minute. We might see, my guess is if they go to, what is it called? Gamescom in Germany. They may have a month announcement or like a pre-announcement announcement there. And then at CitizenCon, they'll actually make the date announcement. Squadron 42 launched while the PU is in a bit of a shitty state. Why is the PU in the bit of a shitty state, Ram? What's shitty about the PU? I'm not saying it's not the case. I'm just saying, try to use Socratic method here. Think about what's wrong with the PU. Announcement of announcement of announcement. Yeah, it's gonna happen. That sort of stuff isn't unusual. Don't worry about something you can't affect. Squadron 42 will take care of itself. We just hope it's good enough to mouth water over and believe the hype. Missions not working. Still grievers. So we're not going to have griefers in Squadron. Mission's not working because of the back end. And the bugs are also because of the back end. For me, bugs, stability, and performance are my big concerns. It's not optimized at all. Stability is mostly fine. I haven't had much of an issue when it comes to like stability. But online stability isn't the same Squadron. Squadron's not an online game. It's an offline game. So you won't really have to worry about server stability with Squadron. Performance is also variable. When you are on lower population servers, performance usually is a little bit better. So, again, that's usually linked to the back end for Star Citizen, which you don't have to worry about with Squadron. I know, but I know you wrote that about PU, but that's my point, is that the problems that are with the Star Citizen right now aren't the same as problems with Squadron 42. Now, I have heard that the current builds of Squadron are unstable in the sense that they sort of unravel and break after multiple hours of play. But that's optimization, hunting down bugs, that sort of thing. It's not the same as Star Citizen. You lost everything, ship mods, all the stuff I bought. I bought 12 extra of over the last month, but thank God we got a new reskin ship that's been in sale for almost a month. Welcome to the new patches. And Geek, here's the thing. In 3 days, all that stuff might come back. Or tomorrow, it might come back. Check Spectrum, there are threads, devs replying to that. Marketing should be punished. You want to beat them? You want to take them out back and whip them? Well, yeah, because saying marketing should be punished is like saying we should beat the marketing guys for the problems of the development team. The marketing guys are doing their job. What's my thoughts on the new Hazard Drum bundle? I don't like their fucking Hazard Drum bundles. Well, you said punish, Geek. Punish is... or you want them to be fired? Garnish their wages? Because typically... companies don't respond well when somebody comes to them and say, you should fire this employee because I had a bad experience. Most companies go, no. Wages would be a start. Okay. So you just don't want people to make money playing, working for Star Citizen. You want to take food out of their kids' mouths. Out of their families' mouths. That's fine. Geek, I've been hearing this argument. I've heard this argument forever, which is Star Citizen's marketing is disingenuous. It's lying to new players. And I don't see it. Like, people are, the community itself holds CIG up to an impossible standard when it comes to marketing. Does marketing make mistakes? I have gone on record and said, yes, they do. There is lots of problems they make, and I think it's hurting the game overall. But a trailer isn't one of them. The people who do the trailers for CIG are very good at their job. Before my maternity leave, I fired a technician that was always complaining about other technicians as if we should just fire whoever she didn't agree with. It's complicated issue in general. I don't think CIG has a marketing problem in how they do videos and stuff like that. I think CIG's problem comes down to how they sell stuff in game, how they like the balance between making a game and selling things. To be fair, my friends started playing because of your lore videos. That is the first time I've heard that, Token. That is the first time I've heard that. Generally speaking, most people don't find my videos until after they started playing Star Citizen. And it's a sales problem. And here's the problem, RJ. Marketing and sales are the same department. I don't agree with it. It's a bad move, in my opinion, on CIG. The community team, the sales team, the marketing team, they're all the same department. As somebody who's worked in marketing in the past, I will say this. Marketing doesn't convince you to buy shit. Marketing is there to make you pay attention to things you haven't paid attention to. The goal of marketing, in general,
You can take away my
is to
spaceship.
get awareness of a product.
You can take away my space suit.
That's it.
You can even take away my space lasers. But you can never, ever take away my space game.
Hourglass Mage _ just resubscribed for 32 months. I don't think marketing affects new players anywhere near as much as it does old heads.
I agree, Mage. I agree. Thank you for that 32 months of support. You're very important, Papa. Very impressed. For any pedestrian. This is your fault that you're drinking night. Shots and cheers in chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. I seriously doubt that there is a huge number of people who bought the game because of marketing. What CIG's advertisements do, this is coming from a marketing perspective, is their brand managers and their marketing managers probably already know that they're going to get advertisement through myself and other people like that who are trying the game and testing it out. And of course, from press talking about it, all that kind of stuff. They already have a general like spattering of information that's coming out that they don't have control over. So what they try to do is they take the advertisements and the trailers and all that kind of stuff, make them good. They want to try to hit a theme with what they're trying to go for, and then release it. And then it is a critical mass of that exposure to Star Citizen content that will eventually get somebody to try Star Citizen. So an advertisement might be the like straw that broke the camel's back that finally got someone to jump on, but they're not the reason why people jump on. Many different things happen before that. Most people's first exposure to the project is from a video or a friend or something that degree.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my
Engineering's
space
coming
suit.
before Nix, 100%.
You can even take away my space lasers.
Disagree, marketing can definitely
Never,
generate a buying impulse or response.
Ever take away
Yes
my
and no.
space game.
You're not selling somebody something that they wouldn't already buy.
OB2447 just resubscribed for 20 months. 20 months, baby. Cheers to you in chat. By the way, and on a side note, are we thinking that S42 will be entering a marketing phase after CitizenCon or next year?
It's already entered a marketing phase. The quarterly or bi-monthly newsletter is their marketing. It's the start of that. Thank you for that. 20 months of support there, UV. You're very important, Pupper. Very impressive. Mr. Very new pedestrian. This is your fault. There's room for good night. Shots and cheers in chat. Y'all shots and cheers. Yeah. The thing is marketing can't make you buy something. It's not a manipulative mind control or something like that. What it can do is utilize things that already exist in your life and exploit those. Good or bad. Talking about David Algovy? Looking through some of his discussions. I don't think it works the way that David Algovy wants it to work. You also have to think about different things. Number one, what are you advertising? So like cigarettes are a good example of how you can advertise people and exploit people to get what you want from them. And there's a reason why cigarette advertising was banned in America and has a lot of different connotations over the years, because it is manipulative. Because it's literally selling you a drug that's addictive. How many Sriracha ads or Arizona tea ads have you seen? I've never seen an Arizona tea ads. No, we don't know who the CMO is yet, no. And there are ways to just lie to your audience. Yeah, advertisements can lie all the time. And, you know, contrary to popular belief, oh, but that's illegal. You can't do false advertising. Yeah, you can. Easy. You don't have to pay. You just have to pay a fine. And if that, most companies get away scot-free with it. But it doesn't engender long-term success to your company. And we also forget, like, a lot of advertising, especially like up until very recently, and even still recently, a lot of advertising are things like brand placement, sponsorships, things which can be associated in the wrong direction. And I don't see CIG doing those sorts of things. A, they don't have the money. And B, it's just not indicative of how Star Citizen works. Sriracha is a type of sauce. It's similar to Tabasco, but it's I think it's Vietnamese. It's a Southeast Asian hot sauce. It's like a milder version of Tabasco. Oh, it's around the same. The chicken sriracha is the, yeah. There's dozens of knockoffs too, yeah. Sriracha was made by Viet in LA, so it's American made. Yeah, but he's using a recipe from, it's derivative from a hot sauce from Vietnam, I believe. I always dig your marketing thoughts. Hearing your background. Used to run a small mid marketing agency, so I enjoy your thoughts. Did you do ads, or what was your main? What was your because you know, RJ, as much as I do, marketing is like 6 different things in the background. There's research, there's advertisements, and then there's different, versions. There's product marketing, there's B2B marketing, that kind of stuff. Yeah, focus groups. Well, I did market and research. So I did a lot of focus groups and that kind of stuff. Ads, media buys, web app development, try to get clients into research, but most of our clients were too small to see the need. You mean most of your clients were afraid of getting research, because every time I ever had a project that I did research on, I would say 9 times out of 10, the client was fucking wrong. And you don't continue to get business when you tell your client they're wrong. Yeah, and I fundamentally disagree with the idea that advertising itself is some sort of mind control. Advertising is a tool that can be used effectively or ineffectively, but it's never going to make you do something you wouldn't already do. Now, someone brought it up there, Jen, that's why. And I like to talk about it because it's at least somewhat of my level of expertise. And I will say, in the past, I've said that CIG's marketing budget was a joke, because it was a joke. It's not a joke anymore. They've definitely increased the amount of money going into marketing. They're doing better. Yeah. The marketing team at CIG, the ad team at least, is pretty good. They've always been good. They're getting better at it. Marketing can also influence societies. But when you're talking about that level, we're not talking about CIG in any way, shape, or form. And my experience in marketing has generally made me go, I believe that most people do marketing wrong. I think the average company doesn't know what the fuck it's doing and has not evolved to meet the times. So whenever you see some amazing advertisement that comes out, it's probably some form of accident or just somebody didn't give a fuck. Marketing for society is called propaganda. Sort of. Let me put it this way. Today, any effective marketing tool is going to involve memes. It's going to involve getting your topic into the conversation that's going on at some point. The problem is that in public relations, a very basic concept in public relations is controlling the narrative. You want to be able to control what your product is and how it's seen by other people. So if you try to market in a way that would be effective, it's almost always going to be out of your control in some way, shape, or form. Silence brand, yeah. Yeah, that problem is that you also come across, the other problem is if you try to force it too hard, you can come across as brand doing brand thing. So yes, marketing is propaganda. It is, but propaganda...
Them biddies.
So they tend to come out with new ships to go along with the next event, Sandbox. What kind of ship do you think we'll get for the next supply or die? Last one we got the Fortune. We just got the Golem. Maybe a hauler?
Probably another hauler. They just came out with a hauler, but we'll see. I don't know. They said they've been doing some variants, so we could see some hauler variants beyond the Prowler. So yes, marketing is propaganda. The difference is that propaganda is usually trying to sell you an idea, whereas marketing is trying to sell you a product. But just like propaganda is only as useful as it relates to you. You hit me with propaganda about, like, I don't know, gay people are bad, and me being a pansexual man will go, no, because I'm not immune to propaganda. Obviously nobody is, but I already have that reference. And the same thing works with marketing. You can't market people. Somebody who's a vegan, you're not going to market meat to them and convince them to eat meat. Does that make sense? It still has to be within the realm of that person. I'll finish off with this. How marketing is supposed to work is supposed to convince you to purchase a product that you didn't know you needed. It's a product you do need, you just didn't need it, you didn't know you needed it. Yeah. Definitely, you still have to have a target to hit, and slinging at somebody outside your target is crapshoot. Not only is it a crapshoot, it's a waste of money. And so that's why, like, you know what I'm talking about, RJ, which is the opinion that I've seen, and this is in Star Citizen's community as well, but from the general public, is that marketing is some sort of psychological, what do they call them? There's a term, mentalist. It's some sort of mentalist where they can like cold read you and then sell you a spaceship for $4,000. The thing that sells somebody a $4,000 isn't marketing. It's you. You're to blame. You watching this video right now. You watching this live stream. Because the community has created a community around, an identity around buying spaceships. And that identity pressures other people into purchasing spaceships because they want to keep up with the Joneses. Or because they think it's cool and their friend got a cool ship and they want to get a cool ship. I don't think the community plays the pledge store more than it plays the game, but there is definitely a portion of the community that does do that. Yes, you, Matthew. You're welcome. You don't alter existing behavior, you take advantage of existing behavior. Yeah. You can alter behavior, but that takes time, social pressure, it takes education. You know, these sorts of things are the things that change it. Commercials for food have a lot of red and yellow because it makes you hungry. It can, but it's not like red and yellow makes you hungry. It's not like when you see this and you go, I would like a steak now. And you're definitely not seeing this and saying, I want a steak now if you're a vegan. Example marketing campaign. It takes advantage. Wife, weapon. Bad boss, weapon. I'm going to make that fucking video, chat. I'm going to find people and we're going to make that video. Please don't hate me with this comment. I'm hoping, honestly, that Star Citizen 1.0 succeeds and we continue to get new ships over the years, along with new systems over the years. So, of course, Pledge Store forever. The Pledge Store isn't the problem. I'll leave this off with this and then we'll do kind of a capsule on this because I've already been going for 2 hours and I think we're going to wrap this up soon. I mean, typically we go 4 hours, and I think we're going to wrap this up at 3. But the problem I have with Star Citizen isn't its marketing, it's its sales department. It's just that marketing and sales are the same thing for CIG, which is a mistake. They need to be separate because they need to be able to have their own decision-making and then argue with each other. If marketing is left unchecked and sales is left unchecked because they're the same fucking person, that shouldn't fucking happen. There needs to be voices in there going, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we doing this? Everyone's claiming to be a marketing experts. I literally worked in it, Luna. And I've said I've worked in market research. And part of what I do with this is marketing. I get contacted by companies all the time to do their games. I've not been flown out, but I've definitely been invited to like parties with developers where they pitch ideas and stuff like that. So I live in that universe even today. But the problem I have is that CIG needs to develop a sustainable ecosystem for sales that will match the community they want at 1.0. Because as far as I know, CIG wants to have more people playing the game when 1.0 comes out than currently does. I could be entirely wrong there, but that's an assumption on my part, right? In order to do that, they're going to have to normify their store. Because $6,000 for a video game is a lot of money. And most people get sticker shock at that size. And when you have that problem, when you have that sticker shock, it becomes difficult for you to gain certain people, because the general rule of thumb is people who have a good experience will tell maybe one other person. And somebody who has a bad experience tells 2 to 3 about their bad experience. Bad news travels faster than good news. So anybody who takes a look at Star Citizen, gets sticker shock, and says, fuck no, is going to say fuck no to at least 3 other people. And that's where it becomes a marketing problem. Because marketing has to fight against sales to get people to pay attention to the game. And every single time that a person is turned that direction, marketing has to work harder to be able to convince people, no, don't look at the money, just look at the game. Please play the game. I'm trying you to get to play the game. Play the game, please. To get go the mobile route, get thousands and no substance, need more blinking lights. Not even that. They just need a good gameplay. But the store should not be an enemy of the gameplay. And that's the problem. That's my problem long term, is that the way they're currently going is not sustainable beyond 1.0. I think no matter what, 1.0 is going to be huge. Once 1.0 happens, it's going to fucking explode the internet. All of gaming will be involved in it, and people, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. People will be engaged with it because it will have been, well, you know, decade plus in development, and it's finally releasing. So the morbid curiosity of people who are just like, oh, I want to see a train wreck will hop in. People who've been waiting since they got their package in 2012, and they're like, I had 4 kids and a mortgage. When I got this, I was 15, and now I'm a grandfather. I'd like to play this game now. So like they'll have an influx of sales at 1.0. I guarantee it. But I'm not talking about 1.0. I'm talking about 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and so on. Every patch beyond 1.0, if they want to continue to keep a community, they need to find ways of monetizing the community in a way that isn't egregious and it is acceptable to the average person. Does that make sense? I was on a PlayStation sub a few weeks ago talking about Squadron 42 and the possibility of coming to console. The opinion of PS players who know what Squadron 42 and its connection to Star Citizen had largely convinced people CIG can't be trusted. I think most people don't know the connections. That's the thing. The main issue is more so we need to make a system for crewing ships. I mean, that's a different issue altogether. The game doesn't marketing and sales doesn't fucking matter if the game doesn't fucking work. There's way too many Polarises to think the game is just store jockeys. Yeah. I hate that comment, Geek. I hate that. You can play Star Citizen with an Xbox controller. I've known multiple people whose main way of playing Star Citizen is an Xbox controller. The reason why people play games with Xbox controllers is two reasons. One, it's smoother. When I collect footage for lore or for other games or for other things, for like other footage for the game for my videos, I use an Xbox controller. It's literally sitting next to my computer. So Chris playing with an Xbox controller is because Chris is a cinematic freak. And so he knows he can get this cinematic views with his Xbox controller. And it's a lot easier to transport an Xbox controller if you're going from Manchester to Frankfurt to Austin to play the game than it is to transport your full VR twin stick rig. That's why Chris plays it with an Xbox controller. That was a 360. It's a hardwired 360 controller. So no, it won't be dumbed down. It will be functional. And they aren't actually going to be releasing Squadron 42 on consoles initially. There's just no evidence of it. I had a Xbox One controller, but it was wireless. Do they make wired Xbox One controllers? They do? I don't know if I'd ever pick one up. My electronics goblin mode took me all 2.2 seconds of a controller on my screen to identify it. Squadron 42 consoles would go so hard, though, the money would be nutty. They will eventually go to consoles. But here's the thing. How console development works, which a lot of people don't know. Another reason for people to use controllers is accessibility. Yeah, no. I mean, it's twin sticks. It literally is two sticks. It's you control pretty well with it. But the problem is that you can't really just export game to console. I know like Crytek actually does, the CryEngine does actually have a export your game to console function built into it, but that is really bad and it's not fully optimized. It's designed for people who are making fun little side projects, you know, or like a small game that will need minimal amounts of tweaking after you've exported it. All games that are produced in PC and then exported to a console have to be like optimized for that console, both in terms of memory requirements and graphics and everything else like that. So in order for Squadron 42 to be in console, it needs a team, maybe not a big team, but it needs a team of people who are dedicated to working the game down to fit a console footprint. Porting is shit. Not as bad as it used to be, though. Yeah, it's easier, but you still probably need I'm going to just make up a fucking number off the top of my head. This is bullshit, and this is probably wrong. But based off of what I remember about teams that port games over, most of them are between 5 and 20 people. It's not an extensive thing, and it really depends on how much modification you have to do, but it's not an extensive process. It's not a hugely labor-intensive process, I should say. It also depends on how long you have to port, but there is no evidence that team exists. There is no... I know people who work at CIG. I don't talk to them extensively all the time, but I have talked with them in the past and gotten some sneaks behind the scenes in the past. And every time I've brought up that, they go, fuck you talking about? Because they would have an office. They would be at CIG, or at least somebody would be talking to them, and people would know about them. Between 6 to 9 people. So, no. There is no likely, right now, no Squadron 42 port to console. There will be in the future. I would give it a year. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Squadron 42 on Xbox and PlayStation consoles. Fuck, maybe even the Nintendo Switch. I don't know. By the time, by the Switch 2, I should say, by 2027. That's a remake. That's not a port. Silent Hill 2 remake is a full remake. Like the remastered Oblivion is better than the original Oblivion. I think it's, the original Oblivion has its own advantages, but its own quirks. You heard it first. Squadron 42 on console. We all heard it here first. Source, I made it the fuck up. Exactly. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's not gonna happen though. I mean, let's be real. Every single Wing Commander that exists has been released to console. Wing Commander is famously a PC game, but there have been ports of the Wing Commander games as far back as Wing Commander 1 to things like, I think the Super Nintendo had a Wing Commander 1 port. Yeah, I would say Star Citizen 1.0 is 2027 and 2028. I would say 2028. Though it didn't have Elite Dangerous. SNES had Frontier Elite. There are like 5 versions of one wing from Final Fantasy between the PS5 and all the different sound cards existed at the time. I was first introduced to Wing Commander first on a PS1. Pretty sure then Wing Commander 3 on a 3DO. Yeah. Switch 142 on Switch before GTA 6. Wow. I mean, Cyberpunk 2077 is on Switch 2. If Cyberpunk can make it onto Switch 2, I don't think CIG or like that Squadron 42 can't make it onto Switch. Any tips for Bar Citizen trivia? 2 things. Number 1, they ask a lot of stuff about in-game stuff, so make sure you know in-game things. The other thing they're going to ask about is ships. So it's going to be mostly ships and in-game things. You will likely maybe have 1 or 2 lore questions, and that's it. I don't know, but Cyberpunk 2077 is on Switch 2. I ship Lupkin with Paul. Everyone does. If I could run Squad 42 on a handheld by the time it comes out, I'll faint. I would be surprised. I honestly believe that Squad 42 will be available or will be playable on Steam Deck. I wouldn't expect much from the Switch 2. It's got about as much horsepower as a base Xbox One, not much more. That's pretty impressive for the size. I caught a thumbnail of the latest handheld playing Star Citizen at over 30 FPS. Cannot remember the name of it. I'm old. Probably there is one that came out recently, or it was announced recently, which is the Xbox ROG handheld, made by Gigabyte, I think, and Microsoft. Asus. Ah, right. ROG is Asus. I forgot which one it was. It's called the Ally. Okay, the ROG Xbox Ally. I ran Star Citizen 3.21 or so on the first gen Steam Deck, and it ran at about 10 FPS. It was an install through the Linux OS side, not Steam OS, but it worked using Proton FW. It's toast now, though. Can't imagine that. Yeah. You got to remember that things like Vulkan coming out should improve some of the performance and also reduce some of the sizes. And CIG will also optimize the file sizes because they've got very expensive shit that they have to like work down. I think in the latest SCL they mentioned something like that, like how they had like the Squadron 42 Gladius was like 60 tons, so it was like heavier than a Freelancer. And they've been working off like trying to like mitigate the weight down. I think that's also probably connected to performance as well. Don't get me wrong, I was stoked it ran at all on Steam Deck. The FPS was fine with me. I was only using it for alt account chip testing. I do think it'll eventually happen. Vulkan when? It's apparently done. That's the kind of killer thing, is that right now, a lot of stuff that people want is done internally. Crafting is done internally. Space building is done internally. Engineering or flight control surfaces are done internally, but they've gone through their first pass and will probably get reviewed. There's kind of working on the engineering is done, but not really done. They're just sort of going back and fixing issues. So it's like the basic fundamentals are in and working. It's actually even in 4.0 and the 4.0 branch. but it's not fully integrated with all of the different features and all of the different things they want to work. And I think CIG's even said that a lot of the stuff they've been working on is in the game. Like, that was the thing they said why, like, engineering isn't going to be as complicated as, and all the, like, the kind of flight changes aren't going to be as complicated as master modes, because they had a limited time to put those in. Now, when they finish something, it's in Star Citizen. It's in the game. It's just turned off. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are lots of things that are currently in Star Citizen that are finished, they're just turned off. Like the resource system is in Star Citizen, and it's partially turned on, but not fully turned on. I've also heard a couple people mention that Vulcan's gotten better. When do we make the switch to Elite Dangerous? Oh, Elite Dangerous is not my kind of game. It ain't done until it's in the game. It's in the game. It's just not turned on. That's at least what they mentioned in the Star Citizen Live. Spicy tonight? I've always said that, like, Elite Dangerous is fine. The game evolved away from what I was interested in. I might try it again at some point, but I still have enough faith to know that, like, again, I want to reiterate before we go into the 421, which is, this month is going to be bad, and next month is going to be bad, and probably August is going to be bad, but September is going to be probably pretty good, and so will October, November, and December. And then January will be okay. February will be probably somewhere okay. It'll depend on a lot of different factors. And you'll have a mini little depression in like March, between February and March, and then it'll pull back up in April and May. Maybe May may go down a little bit, or April may go down a little bit, but May, June usually comes back up. But mostly it's June, July, and August. Everyone's going to be mad. Everyone's going to think that Star Citizen is the worst scam in the universe, and everyone's going to be itchy because they're waiting for they want the new shiny features and it's not in and that kind of stuff. And it's like, I have seen this pattern for the like 9 to 10 years I've been doing content and also followed CIG's development. 11 years for Fallen development, or more than that. I got in like 2013, so 12 years. It's normal. It happens. I like Starfield, but Starfield never hooked me like other Bethesda games have. And No Man's Sky is nice, but it's a survival game. And I have a love-hate relationship with survival games. Survival games are great, but then I get really invested in them, and then I just stop caring and then leave. How much have I missed? You got here? You've missed 2 hours and 27 minutes. Least changed a lot, but its player numbers are improving, and its player numbers, but I'm still not going to reinstall and play it. Like I said, I might reinstall and play it at some point. Survival games tend to turn into base building games. Yeah, and I'm not a base builder. Starfield is missing a reason. Its gameplay is fine. Gunplay in Starfield is probably the best Bethesda gunplay I've ever seen. AI is fairly decent. The performances are fine. The individual quests are fine. There are some stories which are interesting. The world building is fine to really good. I really like the world building in Starfield. The problem is that when you put them together, it sort of slops together as a big wet ball, and then pieces start sliding off of it. Because it's the first time that Bethesda has, for the first time in several decades, they actually had to create a new world and make it gel together. Missing its own aesthetic, radios and shit and soundtracks and the world building made Fallout and the Elder Scrolls, etc. Yeah, the books you can find in Elder Scrolls really flesh out the world. Makes you believe there's a world beyond what you're playing. And the soundtrack, the radio in Fallout, gives it more of a lived-in feel. Starfield feels sterile. They were going for NASA punk, and the problem about NASA punk is that NASA is sterile. There's more NASA and not enough punk. They did make the Elder Scrolls world. Elder Scrolls is a Bethesda title. It was originally created by Bethesda, called Elder Scrolls Arena. That was Bethesda. But the people who made Elder Scrolls Arena and Daggerfall were not the people who made Elder Scrolls Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. Nope, same company.
You can take away my spaceship.
Spaceship.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No big deals.
But you can never.
In fact, Todd Howard worked on Daggerfall.
Take away my space game.
I think it was Daggerfall. Might have been Red Dead.
Mason Cold Iron just resubscribed for 49 months. Whoa.
Thank you so much for that 49 months of support there, Mason. You're very important, Pupper, very impressive, very pedestrian. This your father, Stormbreaker, good night. Shots and cheers in chat. Shots and cheers. Fallout. Yeah, Fallout was created by a completely different company. Interplay and then Black Isle. 49 months, dude, that's a lot. My one and only grievance with Bethesda is how they rely on modding community to finish their games for them. The bug fix and improve, the assets and playability, the whole shebang. I think they do and they don't. But I do think my biggest gripe with Bethesda is they want to build a big epic game with big sweeping consequences, but refuse to build an engine that can do that. Look at Oblivion, even the Oblivion remake. How many people are in the Imperial City? There's maybe 20 people in the Imperial City. 20 in the capital of this sweeping empire. They get away with it because the vibe is busy. But the final battle, the Grand Gate is 7 dudes versus 13 demons. And that's supposed to be this sort of big epic end. And then you compare that to something like Witcher 3. The cities feel packed. Everywhere you go, there's just dozens and dozens of people on these narrow streets. Everywhere you turn, there's more people, and you go out to the countryside, it kind of completely disperses out. And you feel like the scale, you understand the scale as you go out and do things. Whereas like you go 2 feet in an Elder Scrolls game, and it's a new entity, you know. And I saw a comment on that another developer made, which I think has always stuck with me, which is you have the ability, you make the video game. If you want something to be big and epic, then make it big and epic. If your engine is incapable of doing that, then write a video game that is capable, that your engine can do. A great example of that is Space Marine 2. The Saber Interactive created an engine that was for their zombie game, their World War Z zombie game that they built, which had these like hundreds of NPCs on screen, which were like swarming, and so like it looked massive and huge. And so they used that engine to build Space Marine 2 because they wanted to have the like waves of Tyranids coming at you. But it also meant that you could have waves of guardsmen equally. So you felt like what it should feel like as you're walking through as this huge armored super soldier. So they used the engine that they had to build the game they wanted to. If they didn't, it probably wouldn't have felt as good. Yeah, Horde mode's coming out soon. Ooh. And that's good. Bring this back to Star Citizen before we do the capsule and see if that will actually release it. I'll probably release it anyways, just because I need videos to release. Yeah, like CIG. One of the big pushes that CIG is doing is they're trying to increase NPC count. Like the engine is capable of handling large numbers of NPCs, but they're going to have to, and they have already, hacked the shit out of this engine to make it work. Yeah, definitely don't make an engine like Cry that's made for small FPS combat and use it for a space sim game. It's designed for much larger spaces typically. But yeah, that's the reason why they hacked the shit out of the Cry engine to make Star Engine. Hey y'all, I checked around last winter. Haven't kept up. What's happened to the Habs? Any news? Habs. You were just saying what's happening? I'll tell you right now, LGA. If you haven't checked in since like December, Star Citizen is in a much better state. It is much more playable. There are a ton new gameplay additions, new ships, new armors. There's an entirely new like mission giver who you can turn items into, and you'll get rewards for. The latest patch just released, so it's probably dog water right now because everyone's blitzing it. But next week or so, it should be a little bit better. And then base building. Base building is not in game yet. Base building was mentioned in a monthly report as being complete in terms of what they showed off at CitizenCon is available to do in game with developer or with coder UI, but it hasn't been added to the game. This year has been what CIG has dubbed the year of stability, of playability, or something like that. I think they call it a year of playability. So they haven't actually added any new features into the game. So there's been 0 new features, but there's been a patch a month. We had a patch in January, February, March, May, April, or May, June, and now June, and now we have probably one coming in July. So we've had January, February, March, May, June. Yeah, we've had 5 patches. Oh, or even spawning in your own hangar. What's happened to that? You don't spawn in your hangar anymore. You spawn in your hab, but they fixed that issue. But, I mean, yeah, they did add weather, but it's only to a handful of planets, right? And radiation, but those are sort of just like they added oxygen where you die if you are in a unoxidized place, so. And jump gates. Well, I assume that if LGA has been around long enough that they've seen the jump gates for 4.0. Because 4.0 was released in December. You can still decorate the hangar, LGA. It just doesn't save between sessions all the time. I remember your name. I remember seeing you hanging around. I would say if you're like you're here only coming in to check up on base building and then leaving and coming back when you want to come back from base building, I'd say check in again at December. We probably will see the tech preview or the or like a preview build of base building by then. Maybe then, maybe a little later. I do wonder how long base building is really going to take. Consider indie devs seem to pump out base building games because they use the same like generic tool set that's in UE4. Like if you look at base building in most indie games, they're basically the same base building, but just copy paste. Base, walls, ceiling, stairs, roof. Yeah, Fortnite building. It's the same. It's literally the Fortnite tool. The tool that allowed building in Fortnite. And Star Citizen isn't, as far as I know, they're not going to do that sort of system. It's you build a building all together, and then you can build offshoots. So Star Citizen's building is going to be more similar to Starfield's building system than it is going to be its own. Subnautica is another good example. It doesn't seem functionally that different. If anything, easier. Stark. How much of your stuff is still around? Like if you gathered stuff from 411 and if you checked your hangar right now in your inventory, how much of your stuff is just gone? Or if you try to set up stuff in your own hangar, right? You got like a seat or a bean bag or something like that, or a table, and then you leave and you come back, and is it there anymore, or is it gone? That's your answer. The issue isn't can CIG build it. I'm sure they will, and they already have, according to their own monthly reports. It's how do you implement it in a way that's going to make people go, I'm going to spend thousands of hours on building a base, and not just 2 patches later or even 2 logins later, the base is entirely fucking gone. That's the problem. Executive hangar still default components. 3 ships gone, several components gone. Yeah, that's the problem. And that's the reason why we don't see it in game. And I guarantee you, just this conversation right here, you are likely going to see a first release version of base building, which will wipe the next patch. So let's say base building version 1 comes out in 4.4.1 or 4.5. 4.5.1, complete wipe. You will lose your base. You'll lose everything you put all your time and effort into. Everything else will be fine, but your base will be gone. That's very much a CIG online problem I didn't consider. That's the thing. Pretty much everything that, if you're wondering why is X, Y, or Z in the game yet, or why does X, Y, or Z happen, like almost all of it is because their systems and their servers suck. Because they don't have a good persistent system yet. That's why. Like they can't even let you log back into, like you can't log out in a station and then log back at that exact same location in the station. They can't even do that anymore. You have to go back to your bed and then come out. You can't log out in a outpost on Daymar and then log back in on that outpost. You just go back to where you were before. They can't even figure that out yet. Ooh. So if you have an issue with Star Citizen, it's almost assuredly an online issue. An issue with how the game communicates with the back-end systems or with the back-end service themselves and how they function. But on the flip side, you can log out in a hostile location out of combat and magically show up in a station. It's the same. Yeah, but I mean, it is nice in some cases, but generally it's, yeah. I have a feeling it's a lot more to do with how object containers move. Probably, but that's again connected to their online systems and how they calculate them. But that was intentional though, wasn't it? They don't want you spawning in and out of everywhere. That might be changing though. That was always the intention, as far as I understand, based off of my own following of the game, was that if you were flying around in an Aurora and you logged out in the middle of space, even if you didn't log out in your bed, when you logged back in, you'd log back in right where you left off. Because the goal was that you could go into deep space, explore in deep space, and then come back when you needed resources. But you didn't need to like go into deep space and then log out. When you log back in, you have to go all the way back to the station and then, do that sort of thing. I don't think your body would stay there, but you would be there for a moment and then unstowed and then restowed, like brought back to that location when you log back in. Ooh. All right, y'all. I'm getting tired. Let's get started with this. So what we're going to be doing, for those of you who haven't seen this before, is it's called a capsule. So this is where I'm going to be recording a video for upload to YouTube individually. And let me pull up. Do all right. Casual's never live. Yeah. When are they adding Zaku's and mobile suits to Star Citizen? Yes. No, I'm still here. I'm just reading through to kind of remind me. God. They call it Goblin. The internal name for the event is Goblin. That's funny. I'm going to talk a little bit about the what it is, what the new global event is in this. So, all right, starting in 3. Basically, I say that because I'm not going to be responding to you chat directly. So feel free to talk, and I'll talk to you about it afterwards. But 3, 2, 1. Oh, hello. Looking good. You work out? You losing some weight? Oh, right. This is office hours capsule. That's right. Capsule. A small section of the office hours live stream that I do on twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPub live. Chat, you can do the capsule emote. Y'all know that. Anywho, you can join me live here with chat here, where we talk about Star Citizen lore, news, and more on Thursdays, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'd love to have you join us live if you can. But without any further ado, we're going to talk about the update, the roadmap update, and what 4.2.1 is beginning to look into. Because as of today, 4.2 has been released to the live servers. So now, obviously, it's old news, so we'll move on to the next big one. But it includes a couple of things, including some of the new information that's been come out about the next event. So let's get over there and talk about that a little bit here. All right, roadmap roundup from 6/18/2025. I'm going to skip through most of this, but just a reminder, if they add anything into 1.0 column, it's it'll get pulled out and put onto whatever release it's going to come out, but it's just there in 1.0 as a holding pattern. Release view 4.2.0. All cards have been set to committed. Asperia Prowler utility. Implementing the Asperia Prowler utility into the game, the card has been set to committed. And then 4-2-1. Space combat mission. Defend space combat mission. Support ship. Adding new missions focused around escorting ships that are under immediate threat. This card has been updated to reflect the type of mission that will come with Alpha 4.2.1. Cool. And then, new global event. Adding a global cross-shared event that builds on collaboration and competition. This card has been set to tentative. This is called the Second Life Resource Drive. Effectively, the 4 major corporations in Stanton are asking for you to get resources for their research into solving the regen crisis. If you want to know a little bit about the regen crisis, right above me right there will be a link to my latest lore video breaking down what regen is and what the regen crisis is right now. This is be very similar to supply or die event, where you just get these resources from point A to point B. So it's supply or die version 2 with 4 different things rather than 1. Apparently you can't get the event if you're at CS level 3 though. So if you get CS level 3, you will be removed from being able to do the event. So it's all legit stuff. That's going to be coming out in 4.2.1. And then we have the Volt Laser Pistol Pulse, introducing a powerful new pistol from Volt's specialized arsenal, a high-capacity, fully automatic sidearm that ramps its rate of fire as it heats up. This card has been set to tentative. Lastly, the new medium utility armor, adding a new medium utility armor. The medium utility armor has been temporarily removed while we shift it to Alpha 4.3 column. It will reappear once the 4.3 column is populated. All right, so what does this mean? I would like to preface this, especially for you who are newer to the Star Citizen community. Welcome to June. June and July, sometimes August, are some of the slowest and most uninspired months for the Star Citizen as a game. We're actually getting patches in the summer this year, which is unique, but because CIG almost always slows down over the summer, as you can see, the patches are pretty bare bones. Now, there has been talk from CIG that they're going to be doing a tech preview going forward. That tech preview will have things like engineering, possibly Vulcan and other things, but it's going to have at least engineering tech at the preview. That's going to be, they say, sometime probably in July or August. And this patch 4.2.1 is likely a July patch. So we may see some movement on new features in the near future, but it's best to set your expectations and just think that pretty much anything from this point until September is going to be a small little nice to add and, you know, a few things here and there in terms of bug fixes and improvements here and there. But I don't expect, and I wouldn't expect if I were you, dear viewer, very attractive, dear viewer, more than that. It's just not going to be ever a thing because for whatever reason, be it staff shortages, culture, the will of the gods, CIG just doesn't do summers. So that is what it is. There now for 4.2.1, I do think it's pretty interesting. I'm a little bummed that the regen crisis is just supply or die, but with 4 people instead of 2. That doesn't sound very cash money of CIG, but we'll have to see as that evolves and as it goes forward. So, as always, I want to hear your thoughts down below on any of these topics. Let me know. And if you did enjoy this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when these release. Thank you for watching, and like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. I'm back. Yeah.
Them biddies.
Just in time for the summer MOMOMOMO momentum breaker.
It's time for the summer momentum breaker. Yep. 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 Roadmap updates aren't the same without Jake. Yeah. Yeah. Feel sorry for the person I saw a reclaimer nosedive and die at Area 18. He forgot to turn off nav mode, apparently. Damn. Yeah. I don't know, y'all. Thank you for watching, by the way. It's nice to have y'all come in and watch. I know it's a very odd month. We'll be back tomorrow with Pub and Plays Friday. We'll probably do some Dune. I might convince Loken to do some Helldivers or Space Marine, because Space Marine's coming out. The new Horde mode's coming out tomorrow, so maybe. I will be back then on Saturday. Right now it's just one person. I need to get some more people for this. But the topic for Saturday is Death of a Spaceman still viable? Oh, is it 26th? I thought it was tomorrow. Okay, well then it's the 26th. So we'll probably do Dune, but we might do Helldivers. We're probably not going to do Star Citizen until at least next Friday. All of Star Citizen's learning experience. I'm also planning on doing a video, which I was trying to figure out a good title for it. And I always said, well, I was going to be like super, I'm going to be super like clickbaity and say, you're wrong about Death of a Spaceman. And straight up, I told that to Tomato, and Tomato was like, no. You should call it, You're Gonna Love Death of a Spaceman. And I was like, Tomato, you're a fucking genius. Dear God, you are an evil fucking genius. So that's what it's going to be. And I've decided that that's basically how I'm going to title all of my captain's tables from now on, which is overly positive about Star Citizen. Because I tried to title the way that I would think that people should title videos to get people interested in what we're talking about with the Captain's Table. But recently, it's just not worked. It's June, that's why. So I was thinking, what can I do to improve this? And I'm like, the titles are not perfect, they're not good. I need to make something good. And so I decided to title the latest Captain's Table, Star Citizen is Playable Now. Because we talk about the playability and how Star Citizen's improved, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, this is going to get a lot of people who post angry comments. And because of the opposite reason. Because people are going to be on there being like, playable, yeah, like 4 FPS and blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, so playable. I lost my ship, and I'm like, yes, please keep telling me about why Star Citizen isn't playable in detail multiple times on this video.
Them biddies.
We have Salty Mike, now we will have Sweetie Paul.
Please take that bait. Swallow that hook deep. Yeah. Here's the thing, Nolan. It's got a 98% positive rate for likes to dislikes. It's just like I've learned that I just got to stop giving a shit. Because the thing is me and Mike agree 95% of the time, and the 5% of the time is more details. It's like how we would disagree, I'm sure, on things like PvP versus PvE, and to what degree sandbox versus crafted, and like where narrative plays into, and like those sorts of things. Details about where the game is going to go, but 95% of the time we agree on everything else CIG is doing. Yeah, minutia, balance, and honestly, I think both me and Mike would both be like, as long as it's in the fucking game, we'll be happy. But yeah, that's what I realized. I realized I'm not going to try to use the system. I'm just going to use the inherent negativity around Star Citizen and be positive, not in toxic positivity, but be positive enough that it catches people's ire and makes people comment, which will then increase the viewer numbers, because it will tell YouTube that more people are engaging with it, and that engagement will then push more eyes to the video, and other people will see the video and go, what the fuck is he talking about, and then watch it. Remember we talked about marketing earlier? I'm not going to sit here and tell you everything's perfect. I'm going to be who I am no matter what. I'm just going to make sure that the titles are positive. In the weirdest fucking way, negativity sells, and by being positive, you're going to get negativity. It's such a weird thing, but I'm like, why not?
Do you want to?
Specifically met me at the Bar Citizen, took a picture of me and said, I always hang out with Becky. I'm going to take a picture with you and send it to her. How you doing, Becky? Welcome everyone to Becky's Stream. My name is Paul, Zerker01, Batman Shell, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. Welcome. I was just explaining that, like, I've cracked the code to getting views on YouTube, and it's not what you think. What I've discovered is that if you title something with a very positive title or a neutrally positive title that most people, or that a lot of people, especially vocal people, will disagree with, you can farm rage with positivity. Yeah. I'll give you the example. My latest captain's table wasn't doing great. And I knew it was the title. So I changed the title from what it was, because we're talking about like the year of playability. But I knew that like it just wasn't engaging, no one cared. So what I did was I changed the title from "Is this still the year of playability?" to "Star Citizen is playable now." I think stable now. I said it's stable now. Make a definitive statement that a lot of people disagree with, and suddenly people will come on and scream at you. And for those of you who don't know, if someone comments on a YouTube video, it recommends videos like that more to you, and will also tell the YouTube algorithm that if that person also enjoys Star Citizen content, we should suggest this video to other people who watch Star Citizen content. It went from being 9 out of 10 when I first released it to I changed it like 3 hours after it was released. It is now middle of the pack. Like 5 out of 10. Yes, if you want to see more videos, that is the key. If you want to see more videos of a specific type of video, comment and like those videos. It sounds really weird. Your subscription doesn't matter. You subscribing to anything doesn't tell them shit. But if you like it, like this is what I've started to do is if I watch a video from a new creator that I find, I will go in and watch a bunch of their other content, even if I don't necessarily like that content, because it tells, and then like those videos, because then it tells me that I want to see this video, this creator more, and recommend other creators like that creator. So, and I'm not wrong. Yeah, Ruger, I think it's right. It is more playable than it was before. 100% it's more playable than it was before. I get much more FPS, and it's much more stable than I've ever experienced. I think I've had 6 30Ks in the last 6 months. And of those, like 4 of them was in one session. But only one of them actually crashed me out, like a hardcore 30K crash out. The rest of them were just server resets, and I got right back. Subs don't matter unsubbed. You can. You don't have to sub. I'd love for you to sub. But the only way you get subscription to know when something's happening is you have to go to a separate tab. It's the tab below your homepage is subscriptions. So the only way YouTube will tell you, they will never tell you when a new video is released. You have to go to the subscriptions tab and check every single day. You can be subscribed to a channel and they release a new video and they never tell you. Most important thing is that you come back regularly. Yes. This is the reason why you can see, I have seen this too recently, where like I've seen Your humble host, Space Bartender here. At the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. Oh, Grim's here. I just had an idea for a captain's table that I want Grim on. The most underserved ships of Star Citizen. The ships that CIG, the forgotten ships of Star Citizen is a better way of putting it. The forgotten ships of Star Citizen. Hey, Paul, how was Quantum Vegas? Quantum Vegas doesn't happen until July 12th. It's happening next month. Still available. I will be there. I got my hotel and I got my flight a little late, but I only had the crazy thing is I've only had to spend like $300, which was nice. Two, when's the next captain's table? Saturday. Yeah. July 12th. QuantumVegas.space. How much it cost for me to get a poster of you in a Star Citizen Speedo and wearing that from my wall? We've joked about this in the past. I legitimately want to do this at some point. Is the Sexy Men of Star Citizen calendar for charity. I guess economic collapse has some positives. Well, it's mostly because I actually was able to get a hotel for free using points. So deadass. I know. We joked about it in the past, and I'm like, I think people would buy that. Especially if we did it for charity, people would buy the shit out of that. Listen, buddy, I gotta lose 50 more pounds. All right, I lose 50 more pounds, which I can do in a year. I've done it before. I lose 50 more pounds. I'll put my ass on a Speedo. Like a sexy firefighter calendar, but for Star Citizen, I buy that so hard. Yeah, like a sexy firefighter calendar, or the Mormon muffins, like the Mormon housewives who do their like not sexy, but like risque photo shoots for charity. Next captain table is Saturday. You, Tomato, Evenlease, Ferrister. We can get Execute. Mike. Well, we could probably get Burks to do it. Hey, Starlight, how you doing? I'm doing good. Algrid. Algrid is a very, very religious man. I don't think Algrid would do that. Do it next year for autism awareness? Maybe. Yeah, no, Uchiha, if you're talking about the podcast version of it, I haven't updated the podcast version because we missed a week because of the International Bar Citizen. So like I didn't get the captain's table last Saturday. I had a captain's table. I didn't have a captain's table the Saturday before last, and I didn't have one last Saturday. I had it on Thursday because I couldn't get to one last Saturday, the Saturday before last. And that has been out, but it hasn't been posted to the podcast yet. Wait, are we talking about more men for the calendar or more men for the captain's table on the underserved ships? So I need more people for the captain's table for this week. Right now it's just Griffin. And the topic for this Saturday is Death of a Spaceman still viable? I'm sure I can get one other person to come on. X and Algorithm should have a pictorial together where they can feel the tension. And at some point, no, next question. Yes, it is. At some point, and I got to talk to more content creators about this, but X reminded me that I wanted to do my own version of the ship showdown. Because I know CIG fucks it up every year. I want to do ship showdown as it should be, as a means of snubbing CIG and to have the difference between what CIG thinks is the best in show and what the community actually thinks is best in show. Think of it as the Drake con to the Drake Defense Con to the Invictus. Not necessarily without meme ships, but done correctly. So I will pitch you all this idea, and then I will do one more thing, and then we'll go. Because I actually have another thing that I remember that somebody asked me to do that I want to kind of show off a little bit. There's another content creator, an old friend of mine, Jawa, was working with Fist25 of the New Soul, who does the audio work for my No. I said to the wrong person, didn't I? Fuck. Fist 25 is a different person than Fist. Fist, there's two Fists. That's why I got confused. The Return of Fisting Jawa, yeah. So, but let me pitch this idea for you. So, Ship Showdown. The first thing you do is you split the categories into individual categories. Starter ships, small ships, medium ships, large ships, and capital ships. Okay? Same rules as CIG. It has to be in-game. Once you get the top 5 or 6, let's just say, of each category, you have them go head-to-head in those categories. Once starter ships, the starter ship lineup is the 100i, the 100 series, the Mustang series, the Aurora series, the Cutter series, the Intrepid series, and the Avenger Titan, and then the Golem would be the 7 that'd be eligible. Like starter ships, yes. And maybe even like the 300 and the Reliant and the like the Arrow, that kind of stuff. Oh, and the Nomad, yeah. Those sorts of ones. And then you have like the Gladius, this fighter series, which is the small ships. But that also includes ships like the I don't think of small ships. Oh, I also forgot the for the starter ships would be the Pisces. Yeah. And then, yeah, the Terrapin. That's a good example. Which is not a fighter, but it's a small ship. And then you have the medium ships, which is like, you know, the Freelancer, the Cutlass, the Prospector, the Vanguard, that sort of thing. And then you have the large ships, which would include things like the 600i, but also like the Connie and the Corsair and the Star Lancers and the MSR, those sorts of things. And then you'd have the large the capital ships, which is, you know, anything that's a capital class. What about ender ships that bookend the rest of the starter ships? You just do the advanced starter ships, and you can easily split it up into starter, advanced, small, medium, large, and capital. But the idea is to put them in their own categories, have the top 6 go head to head in each of the categories, so then you have a winner of each category. And then once you have the winners, then the winners of each category go head to head. And there's a loser's bracket as well. So you would have like the starter ship go up against the medium ships. The advanced starters go up against the large ships. And then the small ships up against the capital ships. And then whoever wins that first round goes to the next round. And whoever loses those rounds then goes head to head with each other. So that way, the final 2 ships are going to be the winner of the loser's bracket and the winner of the winner's bracket. You'll still have the same problem that CIG has, where like the fucking Idris will win. I don't doubt that the Idris will win. But the second place winner could be the, you know, Golem. The Golem would never win in any bracket for CIG because they would never let it win. Because they're not interested in what's the most popular ship. They're interested in selling fucking ships. That's the whole point of Ship Showdown, is it's an advertising campaign to sell ships. What about ender ships bookended the rest of our ship? Yeah, I just said that. So yeah. They should have a category for the most needed rework ship, the community votes. And you could do stuff like that too. Like little fun side ones, like most needed rework and that kind of stuff. Most beloved like ground vehicle, you know. All right. So, Piston Jawa. Here we go. Created this really cool thing. It's on their website. It's their website is fistonjawa.org. It is a map of the Idris, and you can go to the bridge, where it shows you where the fuses are. It'll tell you what each of the seats are, the guns and where they are. And you can even show a pop-up marker on, so you can like, shows you that. You can go to the main deck as I saw before, aft cargo bay, the different lifts, the engine room, the briefing room, lift room, shooting range, brig, med bay, cargo bay, escape pods, and if you get, again, boom, Boom. Then it has the upper hangar, which is just sort of the different rooms you can go to, the gym, the pilot ready room, and the air for traffic control. Then the main hangar, the Argo hangar down below, up is here, and the main hangar with the cargo lifts. And then, of course, the Argo hangar, which has the Argo hangar, the gravity room, and the 2 turrets. This is fistandjawa.org. Let me So what you do is you go to their main website. You go to ships over here. You go to Aegis, Idris P. And then here you see the Idris P map. You click that and that'll bring up this interactive map. I will do for you right here. They put a lot of work into this, so take a look at it. I think they also did it for the Polaris. Same sort of interactive control. You can see. So it's fist and Jawa, not fisting Jawa. Yeah, it's pretty cool. They messaged me on Discord, and so I put that up there. I was a little confused as to why Fist was working with Jawa. I was like, why is Fist from New Soul working with Jawa? And then I just now realized I sent the wrong files to the wrong people. I was like, fuck. You gotta change it from HTTPS to HTTP to make it work. Okay. I mean, it's just fistandjawa.org. Who's this Jawa fella and how did he get it so loose? The real question is, when do we get to see the Idris yacht? Oh, right. There's the conversion one that guy did, who turned it into his own, like, personal, like, the Mr. House character of Star Citizen. Not just a paranoid trillionaire arms dealer built one. He built a massive arms empire, sold it all, bought an Idris P, and turned the Idris P into a floating mansion, and then just fucked off. That's Castak written all over it. No, it wasn't Castak. Surprisingly enough. Want to open a hot dog stand in the back of one of my ships? The Cutter taco truck. When CIG? The Cutter taco variant. The Cutter roach coach. Castak arms mentioned. Boo Drake. Listen, Nolan. Wait until you hear about my idea for the Cutlass Purple. It doesn't have a disco ball, but the Cutlass Purple should be the entrepreneurship, where you can turn the back of your Cutlass into a storefront. YouTube said Boo Drake patch. All right, y'all. It's getting late. Yeah, no, I mean, I literally have this within arm's reach for a reason. And it matches my color scheme, kind of, so. When will I see my Banu Merchantman? What gameplay mechanics do we need for it? The ability for you to buy and sell stuff. But also, you need to have kits. So, I'm going to explain this and then call it a night. For those of you who don't know how CIG makes ships, they build a ship out of parts. And that sounds weird, but they can't just make a ship from whole cloth. Because if they make a ship from whole cloth, it might look completely different from other ships made by the same manufacturer. So a ship like the Polaris is built using multiple different smaller and in some cases larger ships. Not with the Polaris, but like multiple different versions, smaller ships like Connie, like the Zeus, like the Aurora, like the Mantis, like the Scorpius. All of them, they take those kits and then they use pieces from those kits to build out the Polaris. And the things that are unique to the Polaris, they'll make themselves as well. And the Polaris itself then has kits of its assets of what it's used for. Basically, they may take the hallway from a Connie and they'll stretch it out and they'll change assets here and there. And if that doesn't work, they'll build the hallway themselves from scratch, and then that becomes a kit that they'll use for future big RSI ships. So the reason why the Perseus is being worked on is because they built the Polaris. The Polaris is the key to the Perseus, and the Polaris and the Perseus are the key to the Galaxy, which is the key to the Erastra, which is the key to the Orion. The reason why the Star Lancers were being built is because they're building kits for the Odyssey. The reason why the Ironclad is being built is because they're building kits for the Kraken. So the problem with the Banu Merchantman is that there is only one other ship in the Banu style. And it's the Defender. It's a tiny fucking ship. So what they were doing when they were building the Banu Merchantman was they were basically building it from scratch, whole cloth. Thus, the design was changed a little bit, but the idea was to build it so that they could build kits and then build other Banu ships. That team that was building it is gone. They don't work at CIG anymore. So there's really no institutional knowledge on how that was built. So they're going to have to start over from scratch to make the Banu Merchant. So it's more than likely what we're going to see is another Banu ship before we see the Banu Merchant. Some medium or large ship, like a Star Lancer or a Perseus or a Ironclad, so that they can then use those kits that they build for that for the Merchant. Yeah, the Trip Taker is what people have been mentioned that it does exist in sort of lore, or it mentions in terms of CIG's mentioned it before. It probably, I don't think it'll be the Trip Taker, but that's sort of the stand-in for whatever they'll actually make. That's why the corridor from the Herc is on both the MSR and the Spirit. Yeah. It's also on the Intrepid, and it's why the Intrepid and the Ares and the Spirit all have the same cockpit. In fact, it's why the MSR, the Hercules, the Intrepid, the Ares, and the Spirit all have the same cockpits. They have the same seats. Even like kind of the raising and lowering of that shit. And the Crusader series is a great example of that process in built in. In that case, where's your E1? E1's waiting for transport. It's waiting for luxury transport to be to Mattering. Because they don't want to build the E1 now, because its really only purpose would be to just be in gameplay, to be in game, just to play around with, and then come up with how luxury transport is supposed to work, how people moving is supposed to work, and then figure out, oh fuck, we need to make the whole corridor bigger. We need to reduce the number of people who can be on this thing or whatever. Like, they don't want to build it out and then have to completely rebuild it once they actually have the gameplay for it. It's the reason why likely we haven't seen the 600i rework or the 890 jump rework, because they're waiting for that gameplay to be. Yep, step by step. It also allows them to build those kits out in shorter forms, in smaller chunks, that they can then use to build other ships and build the bigger ships. So that if there is a situation where the brand new merchantman team gets fucking yeeted out from the company in a day, they still have all these kits and assets that it would take them less time to rebuild that team or to rebuild that ship than it would right now.
Hey, a tip!
Cano, super chatted $2. G12 hashtag when?
I don't know. That's the one thing that I always don't know why, but the likelihood is that they're not building the G12 because it was built by somebody else. It's somebody else's baby. And they don't want to give somebody else's baby, especially something as insignificant as a ground vehicle, until they have time for it. It's the same reason why we don't see the whole B, the whole D, or the whole E in game yet, because they're somebody else's baby. Likely the people who came up with the whole series don't work for CIG anymore. The person who came up with the concept for the G12 probably doesn't work for CIG anymore. And if they do, they're busy working on something else. Yes, the Starfarer rework is post Squadron 42 release. Yeah, and the Star Lancer will probably be the kit that they use to build out the Starfarer. But it's probably going to be a combination of the Star Lancer and the Arastra and the Galaxy and that's MISC is different. The Odyssey, the Star Lancer, and likely whatever rework they do for the Freelancer. We'll have the Freelancer rework before we get the Star Lancer or Starfarer. Yeah, and same with the Connie. The Connie is going to get reworked with the Zeus and the Perseus and the Arastra. Yeah, the Starliner and the E1 will probably come out at the same time. Iron Chat's coming out this year. I think we'll get the expanse before the year. No. Yeah, we might. I don't know. No, not Zeus rework. The Zeus Mark II, the Zeus, its kit will be used for the Connie. No, we won't see the new Starliner until post 1.0. Just for refining mechanics. I think they're going to do base building refining before they do the expanse. The Connies are fine externally. They just need an interior rework. What about the Javelin? The Javelin's partially done for Squadron. There's no reason for them to do the full interior until they have to. Hey, easy there, chat. You're all beautiful, okay? I love all of you equally. All right. So hopefully that explains a little bit of why CIG is doing all of these little ships suddenly. It's twofold. One, they want to make kits. Two, if John Smith is hired to work on the ship team for CIG, John Smith needs things to work on. And John Smith isn't going to be set immediately to go work on the G12 because you don't know if John Smith even likes working here or not. So John Smith is going to work on something and get their understanding of how the systems work. And once they have to understand the systems work, they're going to be put on stuff that they want to do. Then every so often, if they're here for a couple of years, they'll move on to fixing some of the problems of the older ships and then moving their on foot that way. All right, y'all, I'm going to call it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this, hit that follow button. I just breached 1,900 follows. I'm at 1,902 follows. So we're almost there with 20K, baby. And then I will be back tomorrow, a little earlier than normal, which is like 6 p.m. Eastern, for Pub and Plays, where me and the Logan will play. The Logan Plays will do something, either Dune or Helldivers, probably. Saturday, Captain's Table, talking about Regen and Death of Spaceman. Sunday, we're just going to be drinking heavily and doing Stormbreaker. So we're just going to be boozing and cruising. And then on Monday, I've got my, I'm going to be doing a Zero to Hero, though I might change that to be a Astro Historian stream. So that way I can keep that going as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And like I say every time, see you someday.